Welcome back. Many thanks for choosing to stay with us. I'd love to welcome you again to this conversation on education matters. And of course, I have Mr. Miller and Dr. Rosa with me still here in studio, telling us more on what they brought out as a solution to ensuring that we re-strategize our children's education in a way to empower them rather than lock them out of what we have been building them for, a working nation. Now, back to the research that they wrote earlier on that also has, of course, fed into this discussion. The recent KCSE results are thus systematic, all right, or systemic of wider deficiencies that Mr. Miller just mentioned in the education system, such as the prolonged transition to the competency-based curriculum, CBC, a focus on providing simple resources rather than complex resources, education budget allocations that do not reflect the number of students in respective counties, a poor implementation of ed tech solutions, etc. Now, at this rate, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, an increasing number of secondary school graduates will face difficulties competing for jobs demanding even a basic skill set and their development path through the higher education sector by acquiring a series of credentials will almost certainly be unsurmountable. Now, this begs the question of what the future is in store for almost about 50% of students who could not score beyond a 24% mark on their KCSE in the recent exam. There is some respite in the form of the CBC because students in upper primary school will be assessed annually through their grades, and they will also take a national assessment in grade 6. Now, the combined scores, therefore, will be used to appropriate junior secondary schools. If you are not aware, this system should enable parents to identify any scholastic weakness in their offsprings early on, and they can subsequently work with classroom teachers to address learning deficiencies, or rather seek assistance from private tutors. I will come in closer to what the goal of the parents is when it comes to upper primary school, but let me hear again. Core Academy, is trying to maneuver around these deficiencies. And a parent is watching this morning and saying, what different thing will you do for me? I am in Samburu. I am in Turkana. I am in Wajir. The government is still talking about ensuring that this 4G internet or that number of Wi-Fi or electricity for that matter reaches certain regions. So what are you looking at in Core Academy as far as ensuring that no one is left out in terms of supporting in classroom, and then what parents ought to do as much as deficiencies are concerned?
Again, I mean, the learning project for each student is a very long trajectory, and different interventions have to happen at different times. And of course, Kenya is a complex country because, like you said, not everybody has electricity, not everybody has access to a smartphone or a computer. And the government is trying very hard with its digital learning project to address these issues, and they're spending vast resources to make sure that all these electricity issues or hardware issues are addressed. But I think it's not happening at a rate fast enough.
Okay.
So again, the Osawa report indicated that a lot of children don't have access to an ICT lab at school. A lot of ICT teaching doesn't take place at schools. So ICT isn't always a solution, to be honest.
Okay.
We have to recognize that traditional learning is as important as digital learning, and that the bulk of teaching probably has to happen at the traditional level. And that means relying on textbooks, on good teachers, looking at having access to good reading material. And these things can maybe be done more in more challenging areas, like you said, maybe in the Turkana, in the Samburu, in the Wajir,
yes,
where the infrastructure doesn't exist yet. That's hopefully changing. And once they have access, they should embark on digital learning. But for the areas that are connected right now, digital learning provides a great supplement, because you can learn things faster, more efficiently. You can have access to new content, to different pedagogies. So that's where the Core Academy comes in.
Okay.
It may not be for everybody at the moment, because you do have to be connected. But that is, that problem is being solved increasingly in Kenya. And it opens up a vast world of resources available to students and to kids, so students, parents and teachers. Let's not forget the teachers too, because they can also benefit from advanced teacher training, looking at best practices in terms of teaching materials. So there's a whole ecosystem available to everybody. The challenge, though, with digital learning is, how do you find out what are the good sources to look at?
I know, and that was one of the most confusing things that happened when COVID-19 struck, because information was everywhere. And every website, and a lot of them were even pretty much quote unquote abusive to the children. But we'll come back to that on the challenges, but how to counter that, because at the end of the day, we have to ensure that education is empowering us. And I want to talk to Dr. Rosa as far as core academy is concerned. And I like how he's brought us up to speed on how even teachers can benefit, and also touch on the pedagogies. But also I want to find out then, what is the curriculum that the core academy follows? Because one of the things that now parents are trying to heal from is the confusion. And of course next year we're hoping the calendar goes to our normal, our usual holidays, etc. But we don't want to confuse curriculums, because these are an extension of classroom work. So maybe the clarity on which curriculum you use.
Absolutely correct. This is a lot of parents and teachers and students collectively confided in me that there's information overload, and there's just so many different things happening in their world, and they don't know what to do. They're just very confused, and they don't have much time to do everything. For instance, they already get a lot of homework from their traditional classroom setting. But if we offer another homework as after school entity, then that's too much of like a work, and it's not very effective. So we are all about making it effective. So the parents and teachers and also students, they have to make a decision, like what is the best way for me to manage my time wisely.
Okay.
So it's individually, as a teacher, as a parent, as a student, you have to make that decision. I think the key to success is that time management. So like Mr. Miller already identified the problems, and then what we are trying to do, add to this very complex ecosystem, is we're trying to create material and the content that's very time efficient, and in a way that we can identify the weaknesses of the students in a very timely manner, assess it correctly, and then we provide a very cost-effective and also time-effective course content that's very appropriate and tailored to the needs, given the school, the parent, and if it's a working parent, if it's a homeschooling. So every student has a different situation. Every parent has a different situation. So it's very important to tailor the whatever content we have in a way that's good for you. And then that decision can only be made at the individual level as a student, and at the parent and the teacher. But unfortunately, learning is not something you can just like plug it in, plug it out, and you get the result like a business profit. You sell something and then you get the return. It's not like that. The return on investment is it can be intangible things. And because we are human beings, we are very different from other living entities, and we have a tremendous potential, and we don't know how our mind works.
Yes.
So you have to always put that in mind, and the communication is key.
All right.
So the students and the teachers and parents need to really be honest about the situation, and also teachers also need to be very equipped in a way that they need to explore a lot of different teaching methods to really have confidence to bring a lot of different kinds of students to the potential, but they don't have time. And they have to follow a certain set curriculum, especially if it's a public school. So you don't have any flexibility or much freedom to do it. So that's why we are trying to use the after school or the weekend or even the vacation time to kind of for you to reset Like, have we learned everything? What did we learn from this school for this under this system?
Yes.
What works for me? And then, so we give them some kind of a frame of reference of other best practices, how other systems solve this kind of problem.
Okay.
Would this way of solving problem more appealing to your child because that your child is thinking in a certain way? That's how. So you have to kind of go in depth to solve the problem. But to solve the problem, you have to identify the problem first.
Correct.
So so it's easy. I know it sounds easy, but it's not that easy.
It's not as easy.
It's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah.
I'm hoping you can paint that picture even more because people will be sending in messages for clarity in whichever sector we have touched on, and you need clarity. Feel free to ask as many questions in the comment section. We have a few more minutes to go, and clarity is the heart of this conversation. Please, if you're a parent, do not leave confused. Let us not leave the studio and leave you more confused. We are trying, however, to complement the classroom work and ensure that your child, in their unique way, in their unique thinking, and with the deficiencies they could be experiencing, have solutions. And at the end of the day, they're also equipped to then compete in the public competent corporate sectors that exist. So don't be left out. And we want to go deeper now, because someone is asking, all right, Ko Academy, but how well known is it in Kenya? Right? I mean, someone is thinking, are you partnering with schools? Does a parent just log into a website? How does it then work for this particular, people who are watching this morning?
So the Ko initiative the Ko Academy is a new initiative.
Yes.
So we've launched it. You can go to the website, thekoacademy.com, and you will see a selection of courses we offer. And then you can pay online, either using a debit card or M-Pesa, and then we schedule courses. And these courses can be either one-on-one, or they can be in very small groups. So, or you could even have physical training depending on your location. So right now we are purely based in Nairobi, but we hope to expand across Kenya and even across East Africa.
Nice.
We've seen a lot of demand based on website visits from Ethiopia, from Tanzania, from Nigeria, even places like Rwanda. So the idea is that we start in Kenya with our hybrid training, and we gradually expand, for example, Ethiopia, where there's a huge demand for conversational English. And we can scale to some extent by using that hybrid approach. However, we intend to have a YouTube channel coming out soon, where we will have short, instructional, and fun learning content designed by experts. And that, I think, is something which is unique for Kenya and even unique somewhat for Africa. And that way you don't have to search through thousands of YouTube channels. You have the Ko Academy, the content is high quality and verified, and it's a one-stop.
Also, zero cost.
And zero cost.
Oh, nice, at zero cost.
And then the third initiative we have planned is to have an adaptive learning app, particularly focused on mathematics in the beginning. And this app will use artificial intelligence to, after a questionnaire of particular subject areas, find out the proficiency level of a student. So AI and data can very quickly identify the deficiencies in math. We're talking about math in the beginning. And then it will give a customized learning path for each student over a set number of modules. So we start maybe here, and after 3 or 4 weeks, we end up here, based on AI technology.
Amazing. And I want to come back to you, but I want to hear from Dr. Rosa, having interacted with quite a number of, I will say, humans, because it's a lot of brain development and growth at the same time. And one of the conversations that has been sparked on social media and even on TV has been, and I'm going to be coming to you on the courses offered, and you said parents can also, and teachers can also probably get something from that. There has been the concern of, for example, let me speak for Kenya, This is a new curriculum. This is a new system, all right? The generation we are bearing right now think differently, are excited by different things, not like the probably different generations before. Do you think there is something that you would be saying to the education fraternity this morning that would change their style of teaching even in classroom? I know you're going to be a compliment to what they do, but perhaps our style of teaching this new generation, even with the new CBC curriculum, is not as effective.
I can see that you're not very happy with CBC.
Yeah, because maybe they don't understand. Maybe we're doing the old, style of teaching with a new generation and new curriculum.
Yeah, like there's no style. I would not say it's not a style issue.
Okay.
If you talk to all the teachers, I'm sure whether it's primary or secondary or junior high, all the teachers have the best intention and the best will, and they are doing as much as they can. And some people say math is math. How can you do it differently? English is English, Kiswahili is Kiswahili. Yes. So I don't think it's a style issue, but at the same time, when I teach something to my students, whether it's 5 years old or 25 years old, I can see that they have extremely passionate about learning. They want to learn. And I feel that that desire is very high in Kenya and also across entire Africa. You have to have enthusiasm for learning, first of all. But unfortunately, if you end up being stuck in a system and then just do the same thing over and over again, and which doesn't work for you, and you don't get good grades, and then you just go to school and spend a lot of hours there, you end up losing that enthusiasm.
Okay.
And that's the problem, in my opinion. Because if you are very passionate and if you have the spirit, you can pretty much do anything. You can fix all the problems. I see it, and then the process is very painstaking, but at the same time it's very enjoyable because you feel that at the end of the journey you have something that you achieved. But that journey is very it's not easy, and I understand that you're hoping, every parent hopes that there's an easy fix, but there's no such thing.
All right.
And also there's no perfect system, whether
Okay.
it's a CBC or traditional. And I can tell you that you should not look for a perfect system. You should look for to be you should educate yourself. Okay, how can I be a good parent, knowledgeable, that I give my child the confidence and the belief in me, that I can trust my mommy. I can tell her everything, that why I'm suffering at school. I need some help in this area or that area. The students are very smart. The kids are very smart. They know what they're lacking.
I like that.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
where now I want to come to, because parents are watching. Trust me, these guys are on a short break. It's a 1 week break. So this Monday, early, they are probably home watching with their parents, and we hope that the comment section will also be engaging. And from this minute, I hope that you'll be open to your children and your children to the parents. What are the challenges you're facing? And talking about being enthusiastic about being in school, what can a parent do to then, because make the child happy about going to school? If you meet a lot of graduates right now, they'll tell you, well, by the way, how is that chemistry helping me in my today life? They're not excited about the system anymore, being educated anymore. We get to, tap a bit of wisdom from our experts this morning on how then do we make sure that as teachers are coming out from a good place, the children are also enthusiastic about the educational system once again. We'll be right back. This is The Morning Drift. I hope this is impactful. Thank you very much for keeping it, of course, Look Up TV on All Matters Education today for the betterment of your children, yourselves, and this country. And ladies and gentlemen, before I bring back my guests for the last part of this conversation, again, I'll draw back to the research and, of course, written by the experts today, Mr. Miller and Dr. Rosa Ko. The goal of parents during upper primary school should therefore be to ensure their children have a strong academic foundation that will prepare them to do well in junior secondary school, since it will be increasingly difficult then to close any pre-existing learning gaps. But during, of course, the junior secondary school, parents and teachers will gradually obtain an inkling as to which academic path the children should embark on in senior secondary school, pardon me. Now, this will partly depend on a child's preference, but also on indicators such as high order inference and argument skills. Do your children have that? Based on a composite assessment, parents need to then set realistic expectations regarding their children's journey after secondary school. Now, parents, I hope you're watching keenly, and I'm quoting an article. Not every graduate needs to aspire to attend university, that's what they say, because according to them, this track often does not lead to higher financial success through what they so-called white-collar jobs. And they're going to be telling you more on that. Just disclaimer, these are not my words, but I'm referring to an article, and they will be giving clarity on each of these things that I'm saying. Now, according to Miller and Rosa, too many people currently fall victim to the promise that a degree path is a ticket to success. Instead, technical vocational education and training institutions need to be embraced as a pathway to challenging and rewarding jobs in traditional economic sector. We'll be coming to government policies shortly, but you want to comment on what you wrote as far as that is concerned. I'll start with you, and then I hear from Rosa.
I think what we wrote shows that there are many paths to success, and it does not rely on a university education to be successful. You can be successful in many ways having a high school education, or maybe even as a high school dropout. I wouldn't recommend that necessarily. But I think there is a slightly false perception in Kenya that you have to have a university degree to kind of be established.
You call that a false perception?
I think that's a false perception.
Okay.
The pinnacle of education is not simply acquiring certificates or degrees. And the false perception is that somehow you have to have at least an undergraduate degree to embark on a successful career. And I don't think that's the case. Not because there are examples of university dropouts from the US, for example, who then had successful corporate careers. I say that because there are a variety of jobs that can be done without university education.
Okay.
I'm still saying you have to be educated, and you have to have a certain skill set which you can acquire through a very good high school education. So I would say to parents, be open-minded.
All right.
Don't think that a university degree is the only success indicator for your child's education. Be open-minded and see if there may be technical jobs a child can pursue that maybe require, education at TVET or certain technical training. Or in the extreme case, there are many examples of programmers who never finished their university education because they're self-educated. They have acquired maybe certificates in programming. They have gone to, maybe schools, gotten different certifications, and then through their own initiative and through maybe entrepreneurship are successful. And they can go on and create jobs, and they have SMEs and employ people. And that, for me, is maybe even more important as a success indicator than having a university degree.
All right. You just reminded me, right now we're having the elections, August 9th, and you're not politicians, but you followed closely how the IBC came strong about all these aspirants having the degrees. We will not talk about that for now, but we talked about, you've said it's very, very important, therefore, for parents to be open-minded. And there was something about enthusiasm. You said teachers from where they're sitting really want to give the best, all right, are coming from a very good place. But what can a parent do to ensure that the child is enthusiastic, the child believes in, the parent as far as this education system is concerned, and that parents can stop imposing their dreams and beliefs, like you said, false perceptions, on these children, so at the end of the day, the outcome is stronger. Yes.
You have to take the journey step by step. And I believe that that's how we are envisioning for our installments for the YouTube channels.
Yes, in the Core Academy?
Yes, for the Core Academy, which will be coming probably after election, because we have only a few weeks left for the election. So when we're hoping that after election, the people are kind of a little bit more relaxed.
Yes, less
and
dense.
we have I think election is pretty much the priority right now. So after election, we'll launch this 3 to 4 minutes. It's not a long format YouTube video, but it'll be a very a good video content of the problems we identify from the students and the teachers that they have a difficulty in solving. It can be math, it can be music, it can be science, or it can be Kiswahili, it can be English or any topic. So it's not just focused on one subject.
Okay.
So we identify the topic or the problem that a lot of people and the teachers have a struggle with, and they don't know how to teach that topic. And I will have a 4-minute or 3-minute, a very short tutorial on that question. And I will also give guidance and instructions for the parents how to prepare kids at home, in how to help them in the homework in a way that it's a good step for the right direction.
I like that.
Yes. So that would be so it will be a very concrete instructions how to attack the problem and how to solve the problem. And there will be instructions for the guardians and
Yeah, because currently I know in the CBC there is a diary that comes home every single day, and a parent is then needed to do something, and they come out and say, I didn't go to school. I don't know what this is. I'm supposed to help you within 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. that I just got back home, and now we're both stuck. I don't know if you're that parent this morning, but you need to check out that YouTube channel in a few weeks and then maybe get more equipped. And we're going to take your last, parting shots. But first, before we do that, I want to understand what the future of Core Academy looks like. I know you've mentioned the YouTube channel, but besides that, is there anything that is coming with Core Academy that probably the government would also be interested in partnerships or embracing?
I think what's important to realize is that education involves multiple stakeholders. And we kind of know that. It's an obvious thing, but don't forget the parents. Don't forget the private sector. And of course, the public sector plays a huge role. So PPP, it's private-public partnerships. And all the stakeholders have to come on board and work together. And what we envision for the Ko Academy is, like I said before, the hybrid platform, which is already accessible for parents. They can already log in and help their kids.
Yes.
It's the YouTube channel, and it's the AI-powered learning app. And these things will make education more accessible for everybody. And I think what we'd like to maybe look at as a fourth step is to partner with schools. And if schools find our content quality and our delivery and our modes of learning suitable, we'd like to offer these things directly to the schools as well.
All right.
So it's about enabling schools to have a greater impact by using these complementary resources. And that's done in many, many schools around the world, where the school is the primary educator, but then they pull in different learning resources as they need them for different topics. And if we can be part of that journey with schools or even with government, I think education will change around Africa.
Amazing. And I like that positivity is what we began with and what we're closing with. And thank you so much, Mr. Noah Miller, for being here. And I want to hear from you, Dr. Rosa Ko, your last parting shots for that matter in a minute.
I want to actually ask for some leeway. I want the teachers and schools to give some leeway to the parents and the students who cannot finish their homework and who do not get a good grade for this exam or that exam. I want them to tell them that it's not the end of the world. And please pace yourself, and please have to try to have a very kind of a not lazy mindset, but you can have a still very broadened and a kind of a more embracing mindset.
Okay.
And if you do that, and if you feel that if your child did something very poor score after spending so much effort into CBC requirement, and then he gets or she gets a bad grade for whatever, and the teachers do not, and they get for the let's say that they didn't do well for the KCSE mock exam. That's not the end of the world. They think that it's the end of the world, but it's not. And also, what most important is it's not the exam score, but do you know your subject? Do you have a fundamental skills?
Yes.
And do you like learning?
Do you like
do you
learning?
love life?
Do you
Yeah.
love life? I like how she put that.
That's the thing you need to constantly check
Yes.
from your children, and I think that's the key.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. We hope we can have you again to follow up on the progress of the Core Academy, and if then it does actually have impact positively on our children and children's children. Well, that's it for the conversation around education. We'll have more of these, especially for the betterment, and not to discourage you. There is no end of the world based on your grades. There's always tomorrow. Thank you for watching. We'll be back with Simba to give you a summary. If you must have missed the first hour, the conclusion comes in shortly. This is the Morning Trend. Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you for coming.